What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to talk about two movies that I've actually seen back to back recently. Longlegs, I actually watched on Monday, and Twisters, I watched at an advanced screening at a Regal Theater here in Austin, Texas on Tuesday. The reason I'm talking about them both is because they're almost kind of the same movie, just in different genres. So let's dig in a little bit. Twister's synopsis goes: Kate Cooper gets lured back into the open plains by her friend Javi to test a groundbreaking new tracking system. She soon crosses paths with Tyler Owens, a charming but reckless social media superstar who thrives on posting his storm-chasing adventures. As storm season intensifies, Kate, Tyler, and their competing teams find themselves in a fight for their lives as multiple systems converge over central Oklahoma. There's a lot happening in that synopsis, and overall, it's a very simple premise. She had a team in the beginning. They go fight tornadoes because they're trying to prevent tornadoes from happening. She joins up with a new team. There's some infighting that happens. She ends up joining another team. It's a whole thing. But it's a good popcorn flick. Now, for Longlegs synopsis, FBI agent Lee Harker is assigned to an unsolved serial killer case that takes an unexpected turn, revealing evidence of the occult. Harker discovers a personal connection to the killer and must stop him before he strikes again. Doesn't sound like they're connected at all, right? Well, there's a couple connections. One, in both movies, both main characters are almost in a sense psychic, or part psychic. In Longlegs, Micah Monroe's character, she almost has this kind of psychic sense of solving cases and figuring out what the next step is in the case where she's going after Longlegs, or at least she's helping the FBI go after Longlegs. And Longlegs is played by Nicolas Cage's character, who in the film is actually great. Some people may see it as like, oh, he's in a different film, which I felt the same way, but I felt the film couldn't keep up with him, whereas some people might think he's doing something totally different and off kilter of what the film actually needed. That will determine your enjoyment of this movie. In Twisters, the main character, Kate Cooper, she doesn't necessarily have a psychic sense, but she has this sense of knowing when a tornado storm will form, which way to go, which way the wind is blowing. And she knows everything around that because she did go to school for meteorology, all that kind of stuff. But both of these characters in both of these films have this kind of sense of what's going on, and it helps them to be successful in their endeavors. I'll tell you the main difference between the two, though, is one is a popcorn flick, action, adventure popcorn flick. The other is a really cerebral, procedural crime drama horror. There's a big difference in the type of genre of movie that you're seeing here, but there's a lot of similarities in that. And I think those are the main similarities I want to speak to. But what I did like from Twisters is the action, I think, is good. Not as good as the first film. I think the first film was a little bit more immersive than this one. The characters in both are great, but the first one, I think you have a better connection with the characters. And again, that was 1996. Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton. Really enjoyed the film. I still remember going to the movies to see that with my family, and it was a very immersive experience. Like one of the best, maybe top 5, top 10 movie theater experiences that I've had in my life. This one, while good, doesn't reach that level, but it was cool to see other people's experience and just how tense they would get with the action, because it is pretty tense. My wife even said, like, there's moments she was just kind of clenching her jaw and, tensing up a little bit because of how visceral some of the action is. Longlegs, on the other hand, again, a cerebral horror thriller, more thriller than anything, is a very slow burn film. I still don't think there's a lot that goes on in the movie, but it's a slow burn, very slow. It is methodical in what it's trying to tell and how it tries to tell it. But the ending, while for some may be surprising, I thought was a little bit odd in the delivery. It tries to have this reveal at the end, but it really falls flat. And that was unfortunate because I kind of was in it, even though it was slow and a little bit boring at moments. It just falls so flat. And you leave the theater not really caring about what you just watched. I wasn't even really thinking about it much afterwards. My daughter asked how the movie was, and I told her a little bit of my experience, but it's one that I don't necessarily need to revisit. I feel like videos that kind of delve deeper into some of the meanings behind the movie and the story and the plot may be more fun to watch than the actual movie. The marketing for Longlegs was fantastic. I will say that. The marketing was on point, and I thought I was going to be in for something that would really give me this Silence of the Lambs kind of vibe, which it kind of does. But again, that's just a much more superior film. And you could kind of tell some of the films that this took inspiration from, even though it's still kind of telling its own story. But I almost feel like this could have been, like, if they wanted to, do like an additional prequel to Silence of the Lambs that focuses on the main killer that Clarice was going after and getting Hannibal Lecter's, information and kind of input on the best way to catch this guy. It could have gone that route, but maybe I would have connected to it more, maybe not. Either way, that film, I wouldn't recommend for a theater watch. Performances are good though. Nick Cage, I think, is a standout in that one in Longlegs. He's a standout. He is the character Longlegs. And Blair Underwood is actually really good. Micah Monroe, she does well. You kind of figure out why she acts the way she does over time in the movie, mainly because of something traumatic that happened to her as a young child that she didn't fully realize until she gets older and she's on this case. But again, there's a supernatural element to it. Again, the occult is involved, but it's involved in a weird way that I was not expecting, and it didn't really hit as much as I was hoping it would. Twisters, again, on the other hand, an adventure action film. It's action, but I say it's almost more adventure. Again, like I said earlier, it doesn't hit as good as the first film, but it's a fun popcorn movie. So that's one where if you want to see something in theaters, go see Twisters. At our advanced screening, it was really cool. They had kind of a wallpaper poster of the movie on the screen, and throughout our wait time, which the movie started a little bit late because concessions were long, but throughout the wait time, there would be moments where a twister would show up on the screen or you'd hear thunder throughout the theater. It really got you in the mode and immersed you into what you were about to watch. And it didn't disappoint. I think it's a really fun flick. There's a lot of moments where it does telegraph what it's going to do. So if you're a cinephile or you're really into movies and you understand the 3-act structure, you understand like how most character relationships are formed, this is a by the numbers type of situation. Nothing new is happening here. There's no groundbreaking moments in this one. It's following a very tried and true formula of how it goes about its story, but it's fun. It's a popcorn movie. It's a theater movie. It's one that you do want to see on the big screen. So I will give it that. I do think that the first movie did some of the tornado effects and or just those moments, those dangerous moments, better than this one. This movie did something different where it had a lot more intimate moments with the characters when the tornado was devastating a certain area. So you don't necessarily see what the tornado has done as it's doing it. You're seeing how the characters involved are trying to navigate through it. I thought that was different. I thought it was cool. But the first film, I remember it being a little bit more open and not as claustrophobic in those moments. Maybe it's just me. It has been like a little bit of time since I've watched the first one. I remember a lot of moments where the camera's panning along with the characters throughout the devastation. You're seeing a little bit more of a widescreen perspective of the tornado devastation as well. This one, it's a little bit more enclosed. So again, I gotta watch the first one again just to see if that actually does pan out. It's just I'm going off of memory right now. Have you seen both movies or either movie? I know that Twisters doesn't actually come out until technically tomorrow, but really Friday the 19th. Longlegs came out last weekend. Have you seen that one? Have you seen the early screening of Twisters? Let me know in the comments below. I always want to hear you guys' thoughts on these films. Talk to me in the comments below. If I were to give a star rating to each, I would give Longlegs, again, I think I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, so I'd stick around there. If it was out of 10, I'd probably give it 4.5 to 5 out of 10. It just didn't really do it for me. Very slow. Reminded me actually of, I believe it was Gretel and Hansel, or Hansel and Gretel, the horror version that came out a few years back. Kind of reminded me of that, where it's just slow. It's cerebral, definitely eerie and creepy in moments, but it's just very slow and it kind of loses its pace, which really never actually gets up to the pace that you'd expect it to get. So yeah, that's kind of where I put that. For Twisters, I give that probably about a 3.5, 4 out of 5. That one was more fun. I actually really enjoyed my time. The comedy, corny and cliche, but it hits, and especially in the theater environment with a full packed theater, hits even more because you got people laughing and it kind of adds to the environment. But I already know if I watch it by myself on streaming, I probably wouldn't laugh at some of those jokes, but the action I will enjoy. And Glenn Powell, he's just awesome. The main character in that one, Daisy Edgar Jones, she's okay. I haven't seen her in a lot of stuff, but Glenn Powell, he keeps the movie going just with his energy, and he's a movie star. He's just straight up a movie star. So I'm excited to see what else he gets in. Also, Anthony Ramos, he's good in this one. It's a little bit more reserved, which was fine. Not the comic relief or anything like that, so kind of a different beat for him, which I was okay with that. But Glenn Powell really makes this one shine a little bit more than it probably would. If he wasn't in this movie, I don't think it'd be as big as they're pushing it to be. Also, David Corenswet, our new Superman, he's in the movie, and dude is tall and he's kind of jacked in this movie. What I saw of him in this, which this is my first time seeing him on screen or seeing him in anything personally, I enjoyed it. And it kind of made me excited to see what he'll do with Superman and Clark Kent when we see that next year in July. So got a year for that one. So yeah, still cool flick there. Twisters, go see it. Longlegs, see it, but wait for streaming. Don't go to the theaters necessarily. But again, it's up to you. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you suggestions because I'm about my money and I don't want to spend money on stuff that, I'm I'm gonna regret later on. So that's just me. But overall, thanks for watching. Again, comment down below what your thoughts on either movie if you've seen them. Also, let me know what other movies you want to see me review. Thank you guys so much for the suggestions with the polls. I'm gonna be getting to those pretty soon, so I do appreciate that. Also, check out the links down below in the description for links to the equipment that I use to make my videos if you're interested. Something that I'm gonna start talking about a little bit more on a different channel, so be on the lookout for that. I'll make sure to make an announcement. Again, thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and as always, I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.